Hi there, and thank you for joining me today for this live reading of The Closer by Rowan Rossler, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Closer, a person who is skilled at bringing a business transaction to a close. The last part of a collection or series. Chapter 1, June. For God's sake, I yell, somebody move! It's 9 in the morning and my head is starting to throb. Ahead of me are 3 lanes of gridlocked LA traffic and a day of spiraling from bad to worse. It's pathetic, really, my dismal time management. How can I be this late when I drag my arse out of bed at dawn? Is it self-sabotage? Fear? Both, possibly. I had the entire Malibu morning at my disposal and bubbled too long in the hot tub memorizing every word of my upcoming Hail Mary speech, because that's what you do when you have a date with the devil. There are no second chances. I punch the horn again, and the Latina woman beside me in her Tesla rolls up her window like I'm a loose cannon with a Beretta in her glove box about to go starkers. I fake a smile and wave at her. Nothing to worry about. No, this is not the low point of my career. The reality? I might not have a career after today. It all boils down to a meeting with Dallas Ebner, nuisance in a suit and my arch nemesis. I should clarify that Mr. Ebner is not the devil per se, but he's certainly no angel. If the Wall Street Journal crowns you the dark prince of venture capital, chances are your affinity for dirty deals trumps your philanthropic streak. When I escaped dreary London to stake my claim in America, I promised to keep my nose clean. No shady business. And up till now, I've honored that promise. June Allison, the proud lioness imbued with fierce ethics and virtue. I protect my baby startup companies from leopards like Dallas who are always on the hunt for fresh meat to exploit. The trouble is, today I'm a wounded antelope dripping a trail of blood. Easy pickings for a natural killer. But I will not go down without a fight, if I make it there on time. Finally, cars inch ahead. With a break in traffic, I peel off Lincoln Boulevard onto a side street. Instead of living large in Malibu or Beverly Hills like every other genius billionaire, Dallas resides in the Silver Triangle, an upscale area of stylish homes near the Venice Beach basketball courts where he allegedly shoots hoops with the locals. Despite the erratic layout of the neighborhood, I know this area like the back of my hand. After graduating from Stanford 12 years ago, I unpacked my suitcase of dreams in Marina del Rey, a stone's throw away. Back then, learning how to navigate the maze of streets in this area was a breeze compared to steering around the pitfalls of being a woman in a man's industry. But parking around here is still a nightmare. I squeeze my Aston Martin between 2 SUVs camped near the end of his street and stand on Dallas's doorstep at 9:15. I ring the doorbell, touch up my platinum blonde waves, and breathe through the butterflies. This is happening. Today, I am officially eating my words. 10 years have passed since our infamous meeting in his boardroom. After that fiasco, I licked my wounds and vowed to steer clear of him. Even though my startups always need cash and Dallas has a rock-solid reputation for finding it, there are several reasons why I have avoided doing business with him. Not that Dallas has needed me. He is the most successful venture capitalist ever and stripped the title away from the previous VC titans in less than a decade. Entrepreneurs desperate for his Midas touch offer their firstborns or sign their names in blood if it means he'll get involved. And not one of them cares where Dallas gets his money from. But I do. And where the hell is he anyway? I ring the bell again. Another minute passes. Sweat starts to bloom around the pinched waistband of my skirt. The 5 extra pounds that cling to me like a lost child were joined by another 4 after I indulged in Paris last week, and all the seams of my Armani suits are crying foul. Just when I think this is all a ruse, another way for Dallas to get back at me, the door swings open to reveal one of the mighty engines behind America's capitalistic success. 6'2", champion nerve, still stupidly gorgeous, powerful and unspeakably rich, dressed in James Purse lounge pants and nothing else. Despite 4-inch stilettos, I am forced to look up at him. Good morning. You're late, he says. Not according to the 15-minute traffic grace rule. My rule is to arrive 15 minutes early. His cunning hazel eyes bore into me, circling for a weak spot. A flush spreads beneath the silk of my blouse. Is this how we're starting? My Me already on the back foot? And nice of him to dress for the occasion. Shall we get on with it now that I'm here? I ask, adding a notch of crispness to my British accent. He wordlessly waves me in without taking a step back. Forced to squeeze past him, an unmistakable whiff of male musk wafts off of him. A dark swirl gathers in my throat. Dear God, please tell me I did not interrupt him mid-shag. Dallas toes the door closed, studies me in that penetrating way of his. At long last, we meet again. You look well, I say, meaning damn you for not aging a day. You look nervous. Must be the traffic jitters. He scans my face and a tremor starts in my calves and travels up my body. Merely being in his presence rattles something deep in my thudding heart. He's always worn his midnight black hair shoulder length to flip the proverbial bird at the conservative VC crowd. But I don't recall it being so lustrous. Nice place, I say, casting a glance around. He's a regular fixture on the party island of Ibiza, and this house evokes a similar Mediterranean vibe. Sleek and modern, windows for days. All the right posh pieces are tastefully arranged in a great room heavy on beige and stark lines. Dallas follows my sightline to a baby grand piano squatting in the far corner. You play? He asks. No, do you? Every day when I can. The notion of Dallas, a fine pianist, incongruously washes over me. Bashing on drums is the most I would have given him. My father ran a dance studio in Bellevue, near Seattle, he continues. I pitched in here and there, played the piano, helped the neighborhood ladies find their groove. His gaze, with its usual cut, clouds momentarily. Then, can you dance? My empty stomach tightens into a hard ball. Why on earth is he asking that? Knowing Dallas, it's a trap, so I answer carefully. If the Macarena counts, then yes. Otherwise, I'm about as graceful as a gorilla on roller skates. Dallas nods at this, eyes sharpening. How unusual, he says. I thought the siren rarely makes a misstep. Right. Here we go. The reference to my nickname, the Siren of Startups, unsettles me more than his casual tone. Does he know? How can he? The story hasn't broken yet, but who am I fooling? Keeping a secret in LA is like trying to float in the sea with a bathtub chained around your neck. Coffee? He asks. Or would you prefer tea? I am partial to English breakfast after my years at Oxford. I understand you're a fan. Twice in as many minutes, he forces me to mask my surprise. How does he know what I drink? Or rather, who told him? I'll have whatever you're having, I say. With a suit-yourself shrug, he pads into the kitchen. If I believe the foodie rumor mill around town, Dallas built his gleaming fortress of stainless steel to lure Alain Ducasse stateside to be his personal chef. Alain said no, a word Dallas rarely accepts but throws around with alarming frequency. He fills a kettle at the sink, sets it on the base to boil, and prepares 2 mugs with tea bags, moving gracefully with a straight spine and smooth steps. The carriage of a dancer. I find myself thinking unprofessional thoughts again. Well, June, he says, I'm all ears. And I can call you June, right? It feels like we should be on a first-name basis after all these years. I almost buy it. Almost believe we were 2 chums sharing a cuppa and not masterminding how we planned to skin each other alive. But he would sooner give up his chauffeur and collection of Rolls Royces than consider me an equal. Case in point, he stays planted on the other side of the island, lest I forget who's in charge. I set my handbag on the floor. Can we skip the song and dance, Dallas? You know why I'm here. Why don't you refresh me on the details? If you read the deck, he glances at his nails, no doubt admiring his reflection in the buff shine. I don't give a shit about the deck. Tell me what you need. I hold steady and lie through my teeth. What we need is short-term financing until things get sorted out. Oh? He tilts his head, and the crackling gleam in his eyes tells me I've just dug my own grave. I heard that your business partner got caught with his pants down. Your investor freaked out and left you high and dry. You need money. Badly. The question is, what are you willing to give up for it? Calm and unhurried, but with the savagery of a hitman, he rips the rug out from underneath me. Not even 5 minutes in. Of course he fucking knows, I think dejectedly. The entire sad narrative of my current state of affairs just spooled off his tongue like the gloating ass had a week to rehearse it. I'm willing to negotiate, I say, tossing my script and hopes out the window. He chuckles, only it sounds evil. You need me, you pay. You knew that coming here. And a controlling ownership position is how this deal flies. I clear my throat and try to recover from the shock of that. Is he off his rocker? No VC gets what he's angling for. Evener Equity now demands control of a company? My voice rises with revolt. Tell me who else has agreed to that hogwash. Speaking of hogwash, he lobs back, the righteous June Allison would never skirt disclosure basics, would she? My face starts to burn. The legend surrounding Dallas is that he can walk into any boardroom and, in under a minute, assess who's in charge, who's faking it, and if any of the blokes are worth a dime of his precious investment money. What was I thinking? I should have been upfront. I'm willing to offer a bigger fee, I say. Fewer of your resources get tied up without day-to-day management. Less risk. The kettle shrieks while his gaze frosts my skin and I mentally kick myself in the arse. Rule number 1 in negotiation is to let the other person crack first. But I have made a far graver mistake, judging from his fingertips, which press so hard into the counter they turn white. Are you giving me a lesson on risk? He asks. Somebody needs to teach you a lesson, snarks a voice floating down from the heavens. My head turns with Dallas's in mutual surprise. A pouty young plaything glares at us from her perch on the stairwell landing. Tall and lean, with black, sex-tousled hair, she thinks nothing about stomping into the kitchen to parade past us in a thong, boobs loose and high, bouncing under a crop top. She yanks open the fridge, takes a swig of milk from the carton, and slams it onto the counter as hard as a size 00 can muster. A loaded look passes between them before she says, "What?" Dallas mercifully shuts the kettle off and observes her with a turbulent expression, like she's done something wrong. I told you I had a meeting. Yeah, well, she says, tossing her mane of hair. My agent just called. I have an audition at 10:30. Can your chauffeur give me a lift into Hollywood? No, Dallas says, and don't slam the door on your way out. Her eyes harden. I feel the tension in the room rise. Hello? I give you head and then it's sayonara? Language, please, he reprimands as if she's a child, which, mathematically speaking, she almost is. I have a client here. With a withering once-over, Miss Perky acknowledges my presence for the first time. Never has being fully clothed felt like such a disadvantage, and I did not sign up for a front-row seat to an imploding soap opera. I reach for my bag. Why don't we reschedule? No, Dallas insists, motioning for me to stay put. I committed, and this one here has to chase her dreams, right, Avery? It's Allie, she sulks, her tone implying she has corrected him more than once. And since I've had to do everything myself this morning, including getting myself off, why don't you make yourself useful and remove these? She thrusts her arm toward his face and clamped between her fingers is a miniature golden key. I thought the jangly bit hanging from her wrist was a statement charm bracelet, but no. It's a set of handcuffs. Dallas, typically unflappable, looks unnerved as he snatches the key from Allie's fingers. Where did you find this? Dude, come on, she says with a dramatic eye roll. Your bedroom is only so big. Like, maybe I watched where you put it? Dallas frees her and Allie massages where the cold, tight metal gripped her for probably hours. She eyes my curves, this time suspiciously. Are you really a client or just next in line? Hey, Dallas says, a bite to his voice. Don't speak to her like that. Allie spits a laugh. Are you for real? Maybe she'd like to hear how you talk to me. She whips the cuffs out of his hand and storms past me, one of her pontoon-sized feet punting my handbag across the floor. The buttery leather satchel soars like a football before clunking down on a sectional strewn with scraps of clothing. Sorry, she says in a scarcely credible tone and snatches up her skimpy wardrobe to dress in front of us. The spectacle of her squeezing into too small denim is an unsung Cirque du Soleil act. She whips off her crop top to don her bra and stuff it with cleavage while Dallas tracks her every move, his jaw on a slow grind. I'm sorry too, he says. Nothing better than a woman stealing money from your wallet when she thinks you're asleep. Oh my, A night's worth of drama, thievery, and Lord knows what else simmers between them. The struggle on Allie's face is obvious. She wants to tell him to piss off and stuff his money where the sun doesn't shine, but she lacks the confidence. I almost feel sorry for her before realizing I'm in a similar position with him. Minus the handcuffs. Allie yanks on her lilac Uggs with a snort. Like $200 would change things for you. It's the principle, Dallas says, irked that he needs to spell it out. Some of us work for a living, and prowling for your next sugar daddy in a bar doesn't qualify as work, FYI. Talk about twitch muscles, or second sense anticipation. Dallas snatches the handcuffs out of the air seconds before they crack against his forehead. Allie has an impressive arm, better than I could ever throw. Your dick is the only thing decent about you, she mutters. Good thing it can't talk. Tromping across the travertine like a bull elephant on a rampage, she flings the front door open, and the closing slam says everything she didn't have the guts to. A small, jealous part of me is thankful for her whirlwind departure. I am demoralized by her perky breasts when mine will never stand so firm in their lifetime. With a sigh, Dallas runs a hand over his hair, as if a minor threat to his day, the milk gone sour, has been neatly resolved. Where were we? He asks. I'm not offering ownership, I say, seizing back the momentum, and 20% on money's raised. A sound of disdain blows through his lips. 20% is for amateurs. I can refer you to some if you want. Even without extorting me for a controlling position, 35% is a stretch. We both know that. And we both know you're the kind of woman who will bend over backward for your company, he says without missing a beat. That kind of flexibility always intrigues me. His resting superior face rarely cracks a smile, so I forgot about the dimples. He would be so attractive if he weren't an absolute wanker. Do you ever think of doing what's right for the business? I ask. I do what's right for me. And yet you donate considerable sums to worthy causes. He digests that with a deepening frown. Are you suggesting I'm a bleeding heart? I'm suggesting that maybe you have a heart. His eyes taper with displeasure, and I dare him with mine. But any harebrained idea I might have that Dallas will concede defeat ends with the equivalent of a gun to my head. Ownership, and 35%, he reiterates, and if you walk out that door without saying yes, it will be 40 when you come crawling back. Frustration bubbles under my skin. I hate Dallas, hate him more than the death of Queen Elizabeth, and I hate him for roughing me up just because he can. If I were a man, you wouldn't dare talk to me like this, I say. He waltzes over, gleaming with optimism, and has the balls to leave nothing but a whisper-thin space between my ample seas and his greatness. If I get you this riled up hating me, he says, imagine if you actually liked me. I pfft in disgust. I will never like you, Dallas. He draws his shoulder blades together and two perked nipples just jut right in my face. I could stick my tongue out and lick them, which I am embarrassingly inclined to do because I did like him at one point. And he's milking that for all it's worth. You know the drill, June, he says. In our business, we never say never. And for the record, a man wouldn't come here all dolled up assuming his beautiful face is all it takes to win me over. Wait, stop the world. Did Dallas just call me beautiful? I search his eyes, but they shudder before I can confirm what I saw within their depths. A flicker of emotion. I did my homework and called your bluff, sunshine, he adds. Deal with it. His beam of triumph feels forced because something shifted a second ago, but he'll never cop to it. Not when he can lord his authority over me. The sunlight heyday of my Malibu hot tub morning, when I was daft enough to think this could work, fizzles. I retreat to the sectional and snag my handbag, the burn of his eyes like laser penetrating my skin. None of my plight bothers him in the least, and why should it? When Dallas hung out his shingle a decade ago at age 24, the whispers were swift and malicious. Too pretty, too young, too full of himself. He grew a beard to lend gravitas to his youthful face and is giving the Rock a run for his money in the body department. But the crucial change in him is why he hosted this meeting barefoot and bare-chested. America's youngest billionaire doesn't give a flying fuck what anyone thinks about him. He is wealthy enough to make up his own rules and force everyone else to play by them. Call me, he adds, infuriatingly sexy with crossed arms showing off his guns. Anytime, don't be a stranger. His playful wink winds me up even more, but I will not give him the satisfaction. He can stuff his disrespectfulness up his arse if he can get it past the stick jammed in there. Like the last time we met, I will end this debacle with my dignity intact. Don't hold your breath, Dallas, and I'll let myself out.